Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Horror Flicks and Chill. I am one of your hosts, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. And I'm here joined by my wonderful, beautiful, talented co-host, Jen. How you doing, Jen?
I'm doing really awesome. I always feel like I should say where I'm from whenever you say where you're from, but I always also feel like if I say, "Hey, I'm from Hawaii," it sounds like I'm bragging a little bit, so I don't. That just to let you know, that's why I don't say where I'm from. So,
Well, you should brag. If I was I love being in Los Angeles, but Hawaii would be out pretty cool. So
Well,
uh-huh.
I
So
live in the Hawaii of Canada.
there you go. See?
see, everybody wants to be in Hawaii in whatever capacity they can be. So, yes, everybody gets their props for that. I totally agree.
Now, this is our season premiere of the show. We've been on quite a hiatus since last year, so we're glad to come back. But I just got to give a little background. Um, so the other day, I went to the movie theater to see this movie called Final Destination Bloodlines. As a lot of us, we grew up watching Final Destination films, so it was cool to see that they brought the series back. And as I'm sitting there watching the film, I see a very familiar face, the great April Telek. I was so excited when I saw that you were in this film, and we're gonna get really deep into that film. And then I had to reach out to you because it's been a while since we've
I know
chatted.
a long time.
So I was like, I reached out to you, and I was like, "Do you remember me?"
Of
And
course.
she was like, "Of course I remember you. You know, you never know, you know."
I
But
do that every day, and lots of people don't remember me, so don't worry.
so just uh for a little side note, because some of the people who check out this show may not know, there was this wonderful television series on AMC called Hell on Wheels, which was a western uh about them making the
Union Pacific.
railroad, Union Pacific Railroad. Thank you. I had a brain fart.
Just a little show way back in the
Right.
day. Yeah, nothing super. Yeah, yeah.
and,
It's
and
good.
and
That was such a
April
good show.
was on the show. She was, we all loved her character, and she was so gracious to come on our program a couple times. Once after she was on the show, and then of course during the show. And you're such a fan favorite. A lot of we still got fans from the Hell on Wheels days, so they were excited to see that you were on this program.
Aw.
So we definitely want to talk a little bit about that. But let me, I want to pay something off before we get into that. Last time you were on our show,
Yeah.
okay, your wonderful little girl, daughter, was just about to be in a remake of Flowers in the Attic.
Yes. Yes. That was a long
Yes.
time ago then. Oh my God, that was a long time ago. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yes. So we talked about, I don't know if you remember, you were excited. It was about to come out and all of that stuff. So I just was curious, but was she in both Petals in the Wind and Flowers, or just Flowers?
No, her character is, but
Right.
because she's young,
Right. She got aged up.
so I think it was Rose McIver, I think, who was on iZombie, I think, played Ava as the adult version, I think.
Oh, okay. So how was
Maybe
that
I'm
whole
wrong.
experience for not only you as a parent now of a budding actress,
But
and
wait,
also her? Mhm.
can I tell you something?
Sure.
Okay, here, like let's like make all of these universes collide. Oh no, there's more. We'll get into
Oh,
that. But
okay.
here's a special thing. So she does Flowers in the Attic for Lifetime, and she works 21 days on this movie. Heather Graham is her mom. Heather and I did a movie together too, like years earlier, like before I was pregnant with Ava, just before I was pregnant, and we became
Wow.
friends. So it was very weird. And then she does this movie. So Kiernan Shipka played her sister, and Ellen Burstyn was her grandmother, and Mason Dye, and like, I mean, come on, this incredible cast. And then, and I was doing Hell on Wheels for AMC. Let's cut to now. I am my little Ava Marie, who's not so little anymore. She just turned 18. She is working as a series regular on an AMC TV series. She just booked it. She's on set today again, and she's doing like 6 or 7 out of the first 8 this season, and then next season if they get picked up. It's called The Audacity, and she is one of the series regulars. She's going to be in the whole show, like Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnuson and Lucy Punch, and I mean, it's incredible. And Simon Helberg from Big Bang Theory, Howard on the Big Bang Theory, and like, I mean, it is an incredible cast. And my little one, who's not little, is now a series regular on an AMC series.
Wow, how old was she on Flowers and Addicts?
She was 6 or 7.
That was that long ago? Wow.
So it's like 12 years
crazy.
ago. Yeah.
That was crazy. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago. I can't
I know.
believe it. That is crazy. It seemed like it was just a few years ago, but dang, I guess you're right.
But COVID caused everybody to lose 5 years, basically. Like, I mean, not 5, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like it took the whole COVID time, like a year and a half ish, depending on what you did for a living. And it took that whole time and changed the way that we interpreted time and experienced it, I think. And then
there was the whole writer strike.
And then there was the writer strike and the actor strike and I mean, it was just the world changed. So it's sort of like I feel like 5 years are missing somewhere.
Yeah, it feels like it because I swear it doesn't seem like it was that long ago we were talking about it. And I remember, as you were excited about this opportunity for your child and to find out that she's 18 now, because I know she was very small on that because she was playing the younger version of, I can't remember what was the character's name?
She was Carrie, like she was Carrie throughout the whole movie.
Oh, right.
She was one of the twins, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean the younger. I mean, because the story goes on over some years in subsequent books. So she was, but yeah, you're right. She's that character. But I was so happy, excited for you because I can imagine. I'm not a parent, but as a parent, that would be very exciting.
Oh, it was super exciting. But then this AMC thing, because it's Jonathan Glatzer who he's the showrunner, but he comes from the world of Succession and Better Call Saul and Bad Sisters. Those are shows he's the writer on. He's a writer on and a producer on, and he's now show running this. And mark my words. I look like I have too much makeup on. This show will be nominated for lots of stuff, if not win stuff. And they're only 2 episodes into filming.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see it.
It is the writing is so good. It's mind blowing, really.
Maybe we should do a show on it. That might be a good,
you wait, you'll watch it. Everybody will. I mean, it is pretty special. Like the writing is, Succession, how clever, how clever the family dynamics are and how cutting it can be and all those kinds of things. And this is based in like Silicon Valley and billionaire world and excessive access to everything. And then all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And I mean, it is so well written. It is incredible to read. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like to view, like when episodes are cut together. It's pretty special.
Nice.
Wonderful. Yeah. Looking forward. And what's the title again? One more time?
The Audacity.
The Audacity. Okay.
Like the audacity. How did you have the audacity to do that? I mean, it is the perfect title. When you watch the show, you will get it. Like it is perfect.
So cool.
I just wanted to mention that in Final Destination style, I think that the reason that we are all missing 5 years is because 5 years have now been tacked onto the end of all of our lives. So we are all just about to live for 5 more years.
Hopefully.
Just throwing that out there as
long as they're good. As long as they're good.
Yep.
Yes. So let's give a little background about where you're from and just how you got into acting. Let's so that some of the people who haven't heard our previous interview can understand. So tell everybody where you're from originally.
Well, I was born and raised in North Vancouver, in British Columbia, Canada, and my mom still lives, and my sister and her husband too. They live in my family home, the house that we grew up in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Vancouver is like Hollywood North, so many great TV shows and films have been shot in
we took Final Destination there.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah. I think most of them weren't a lot of them shot there?
Almost all. I mean, I think all of them were actually. Yeah, I think they all were.
Yeah.
And I just did Tracker there, and then there's Fire, like all those kinds of, like a lot of the CBS shows are shot there too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty cool. I remember back in the days, um, the X-Files were famously shot there, and
Yep.
that was, I think, the first like 6 seasons, I think, or 5 seasons of the show. And that's where me as a young person became aware about Vancouver as far as Hollywood, was that show. So yeah, so that was
Yeah, 'cause
pretty
you're
cool.
young still.
Well, yeah, well, I like that. I might have to clip that, you saying I'm young, but
You are. Jen will probably fight you on that, but I'll tell you, you're young still. So that's why, like, that was probably one of the first ones for you, like, of recognition. But there were shows before X-Files that were kind of big.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did the Millennium Pilot, which is also Chris Carter, right? That's X-Files.
Huge Millennium fan. That's one of my favorite shows is Millennium. Yeah, that was really cool. And then I have to ask. We used to do this segment when we had an actor or an actress from Canada. Was it's almost like when you have someone from New York, you got to ask them about uh, did they do a Law and Order? So I got to ask you about. I know you did a Supernatural, right?
Oh, I did 2 or 3, I think. Yeah.
Right. Every Canadian actor or actress, they
It was
all.
like, but listen, still, it didn't matter how much you worked, how like that was what you wanted to be on Supernatural. Like that was sort of like a coup. It was really a big thing. When I got my first one, I was so excited.
That's like that's like a part of the back. Obviously the show's not on now. I think they might be rebooting it or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh,
But that was like one of those things that everybody has been on Supernatural at least once.
well, because they shot for 10 months a year, and they like 20 something episodes for a year for how many years, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah, it's an obscene number of seasons for a show that technically lost its home like 3 times, moved studios and moved station, just so many things. That show really was supernatural.
I mean, yeah, it really was. Like, it had legs like no other show has.
It's true.
But it was weird because the first episode I did, I think it was the first one I did. I played like and my specialty, 1800s ho. But I was covered in like the herp, and like and the yellow teeth. I was not like the pretty saloon girl kind of 1800s working girl. I was the like, it was so gross. And Guy B was directing that episode. God, he's so lovely. But he just did some interview, and they posted it on their like, he did some podcasts, and they posted a clip from that on there. And he goes, "Oh, we had the lovely April Telek, who was just, she was," and he started to say something, and he goes, I mean, she's actually she's quite a pretty girl or something like that. But all you see is this clip too, like her and then, hey, give me a kiss. And like, it was so, these poor guys, the poor boys were like, even though they knew it was not real, but they were like, it was so gross. But in the reel, or in the short version of the reel, or whatever it is that got posted, it was like, oh no, it looks like she's actually kind of pretty. I'm like covered in, oh yeah, it's fun.
That is funny. That's hilarious. Were you about to say something, Jen?
No, I'm just
okay.
laughing.
No, I thought I was cutting you off. My bad.
Thing. It is so funny. It really is funny. Even today, their cons are like the biggest cons that happen. More people are attracted to that than I think almost any other community. Their fan fiction base is the biggest that I have ever seen. You could spend your entire lifetime reading it and still not get all the way through it.
No, 100%, Jen. Like, you could never get through it all. I am desperate to go to conventions, and I'm hoping that just even my small role in this Final Destination will help me get there. But because I do have the Millennium, and I do have the Supernatural, and I do have the even, oh my God, Highlander, like going back there, and then all those other sci-fi stuff, this Stargate and stuff. Like, I hope one day.
And hey, Highlander's Highlander's getting rebooted. So
I know.
Oh yeah.
we're about to see hopefully a resurgence. Let's
That would be
cross our
great.
fingers on
Let's
that
get
one.
that.
You want to hear something interesting? Hell on Wheels, I think would have a pretty good. I think they would draw too. This is what's interesting. The show's been off for what? How long, Jen? What, 7 years, if not longer?
Yeah, or 10. Yeah.
Maybe 10. Yeah, it's been a while. I get people who
Black
find.
Sails has been off at least that amount of time.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was good, huh?
yeah.
Yeah,
That was one
we
of
did
our big ones.
podcast Black Sails
Love
like
that.
every
Vikings?
episode, every season. Yeah, it was so good.
But Hell on Wheels, um, people are discovering it like now. So what happens is I've had this happen quite a bit where someone will discover the show for the first time, didn't know it existed, and then they become obsessed with it. Then they start looking for interviews and stuff, and then they come across our podcast.
Right.
So then people would communicate with me and say they treat it as it's like we just did it, but we did it a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my god, oh, when are you going to do your next show? And I'm like, do you realize when this was, they don't realize the show's been on for so long. So I think at some point we might have to do some sort of reunion show. I was talking to Yardley about that, about and getting some of the people that worked on the show together, and because the fan base has just grown since then, and people love it. I went to a book signing for Common.
I love Harmon. He is the nicest man.
He is. He's cool. Like I actually was working at the book signing, but I had to get a bunch of books signed. So and I hadn't met him yet. He never got on to the show, and so I get to the front of the line, and I thanked him because he was one of the reasons why our show grew so big. Him and Anson, because they both tweeted us out and stuff. So I had a chance to thank him in person for what he did for us. And he was so nice. It was a very cool moment. But in that line, the line was it was in the mall, like all over the place. So many people had Elam posters that they wanted him to sign. It was.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they had like his albums, but then there was like the guy right in front of me had like a big Elam poster. And then I told him, I said, you like Hell on Wheels? Because we were talking in line. And he said, yeah. And I told him that, I used to do a podcast on it where I had the people from the show. And then he was like, that's you?
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, so he listened to the show. He didn't know he was talking to the guy, from the show. So that was
famous.
Yeah, right. So, but it was a really great moment. So, okay, so let's go into Final Destination. Which, as we were talking before we started, that it's the number one film in the world. I think it grossed 51 million domestically, right?
Yeah, 51 domestically and 51 in foreign markets. Oh, in one weekend.
Wow!
For a horror movie, that is so incredible.
So we were number one for horror on the Saturday, I guess. And then, but yesterday we were, Sunday, we were number one for horror. Oh, I still have this tattoo on my arm from the red carpet at the Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, you were in my neck of the woods.
Oh my God, it was so epic. I can't even stand it. But they had this like little fake piercing booth and tattoo area. So I got this cool, like it was really cool when I got it there. But anyway, and today we are the number one movie in the world.
And it's fantastic. It's
right.
Yeah, I'm glad that they took some time, because sometimes you need to miss something, to really appreciate it when it comes back.
It's the sweetest. Yes. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. And then you have to miss something for a while, and then you get it back and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I missed you.
Right. And so let's talk about how did the project come to you, and tell us a little bit about your character that you play.
Okay, so I play Aunt Brenda, who's Brenda Campbell, which is funny because I married a Campbell in real life. My husband, my married name is Campbell. So that's kind of cute. I can't remember whether that came before me or whether it came once I was cast. I'm not sure, but I'm a Campbell. and I play the mom to 3 of the like lead kids, and then the aunt to the premonition owner, the woman who has, or the young girl who has the premonition, and her brother, Stephanie and Charlie. So it's a nice maternal role, which is lovely, and I'm like the hug of the show, kind of, like it was interesting because what do you want to know? Sorry.
Yeah, just did you audition much to get it?
Okay. Oh yeah. So I was telling my girlfriend, just like literally right before I got on this with you, she was I was filming something in Vancouver at the time, and I can't remember what it was, but so I don't live in Vancouver anymore, but I went to Vancouver and I was staying at my girlfriend's place, and she was out of town. My other girlfriend came over because I said, I have these 2 auditions I have to tape. Can you read with me? And she goes, oh, okay. And had a shot of Patron. And then we put this audition on tape, and one was for Final Destination, another was for some other movie, I can't remember. And we put them on tape from like my phone on a tripod-ish thing. It was like this small little like selfie stick, actually, and propped up on a bunch of books. And in my girlfriend's bedroom with it was the stupidest setup in the world, but it was just, it was just because I was like, I forgot to do them. They were due the next morning. There were 2 of them. I completely had forgotten them just because I was working and I was traveling and whatever. Anyway, long and short, my girlfriend read with me. And she's not an actress. We sent it off, or I sent it off to the agent. And then that was in May of 2023. And then I find out one morning, I find out that I'm pinned or like shortlisted for it. And then I find out, I got a call back for it. At my callback for it, which was in person with the casting director, but on Zoom with this huge screen TV and like so many producers. I think there were 2 pages, like producers and the directors, and there were two pages that they would flip between for the, on Zoom when there's that many viewers. And it was Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, and they directed Freaks.
Oh, okay.
Together. And those 2, so my daughter was in Freaks. So it was, again, this weird like circle. Like I didn't work on Freaks, but my daughter did. Did you see Freaks?
No, I haven't seen it, but I heard about it though.
It's a really good movie. Like, I'm not going to lie. Okay. I hate almost everything I do, and I hate almost everything Ava does. But I mean, I might appreciate the work, and I totally appreciate the work that I get and that she gets, but I don't necessarily love to watch either of us in lots,
Right.
But God, I thought Freaks was really good.
I loved it.
Didn't you? Right? It was good, right?
It was great. It was definitely like right in its niche pocket, and it told a really compelling story. And dad and kid were such a great duo. They definitely had some kind of on-screen chemistry. It was good. It was
really good. And then watching those 2 direct that 7, like she was 7 or 8 years old, Lexi was at the time. Ava auditioned, my daughter auditioned for that role, and she didn't get it. But then they put her in the role of the little girl who comes, Harper, I think was her character name. And she's the girl who comes to her room, or she goes to her sleepover or something, and then she has the ice cream.
Right.
And then she's at the house. Maddie Finocchio and Michelle Harrison are her parents, and Emil comes over, and they bring the little girl, they bring Lexi over, and they, do you know what I'm talking about, Jen?
I do.
So she's that blonde girl with the blue eyes. But so those are the directors of Freaks. Were directing this Final Destination, and then there's all the producers and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is overwhelming. And also, having been through COVID, there were no in-person auditions for years, like since 2020. So I hadn't seen even a casting director in person or been in the studio since 2020. And this is 2023. So anyway, long and short, I go. They had me do the scene. They had me play with it. They had me improv it and blah, 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 blah. And then that was it. And then one morning I find out you've been approved for the role of Aunt Brenda in Final Destination. I was like, yay! 2 hours later, the SAG strike happened.
Oh no,
Ah.
that is very unfortunate timing.
Oh, I'm not kidding. Like, I was like, is this a sign? Like, what the actual F? This is like probably one of the bigger movies. I mean, it turns out it was the biggest movie I've ever done, but like, I didn't know that at the time.
Right.
And I was like, what? And so it goes away. And that was in May or June. I can't remember. I think it was in June of 2023. And then in December December of 2023, we find out that they're going to go ahead and they didn't change me. They didn't recast me, which I was so scared of the whole time. I was like, oh, they're going to recast. They didn't. And then we went into rehearsals in February, and then that was that. So it was pretty exciting. It was pretty freaking exciting. I can't tell you. I mean, it was every bit of the experience was the best experience I've ever had on any show ever.
Oh, wow.
Not a word of a lie. Not because of the budget, not because it was from the people. Every single aspect of my experience on that show was better than I could have ever imagined an experience being.
Yeah. I've seen interviews with the cast, and they all seem to be like really cool with each other, and they seem to get along very well, like almost like a family.
We went to karaoke together. We went for dinners together. We had rehearsals, which we never get. You know what they did? They had the writers there in the rehearsal space that we were working in. We would do the scenes. Okay, first of all, Richard Harmon, who plays Eric, played my son in Cinderella, in the Cinderella story Starstruck. So,
okay.
And his father, I had worked with as an AD and as a director. His father directed me in something, and his mother had produced shows that I had been in. And so I was like, this is my family. Like, I've known Richard since he was small. So,
wow.
And then he's playing my son for the second time in just a few years, and in the show. And Alex Zahara is playing my husband in this show. He plays Uncle Howard in Final Destination. Alex Zahara and I played husband and wife in The Collector.
Wow.
And we did also another show together. I can't remember. It was some like Musketeers show. I can't remember. But so we worked together on that, and we worked together on another. Like, so the connections between the people were pretty incredible. And we were like a family, but we got to rehearse, and then the writers would be there in the rehearsal. We do the scenes from the script, and then they go, okay, now let's do the same scene in improv, and they'd have all of us. So it was just the family. Timpo wasn't there, so who played Stephanie and Charlie's dad.
Okay.
He wasn't there for those rehearsals, but the rest of us were. And let's do the scene again in improv. So then we just use our own words, and we do the same sort of setup and the same sort of scene. You know, we start this way and we have to end this way, but make up your own words throughout. So we do that. Then they go, okay, take a break. And we'd wait for 10, 15 minutes, hang out, talk, whatever. And then we'd get, and the expression hot off the press or hot off the presses, we would get warm pages of new script that had been, the writers had taken what the original script was and what we had played with in improv, and then rewrote the scenes in a way that they felt like might work the best in collaborating with, of course, Zach and Adam. And then we got these pages, and they were literally warm. I've never experienced that before, because we were rehearsing at the studio. Get these pages, and then they were like, okay, so read these and do the scenes again. And we do that.
Wow.
Nobody gets that. What kind of, I mean, movie stars maybe get that. I never have had that kind of an opportunity before to like play and develop.
It felt like that. It felt like you guys had like this nice rhythm with you guys.
We loved each other. Like we love each other for real.
And they seem to be real fans of the series too.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'd never seen one. No, honest, like I'd seen scenes. I had never seen one. And then when I got the part, I was like, I don't want to see them because I don't want to play into the trope. Like I'd heard about them and I knew I'd seen those iconic scenes, the logs and the
Right.
bridge and the tanning booth. Like I'd seen those scenes and I know most of those actors who were in them, but I didn't, I hadn't seen the full movies and I still haven't because I, I didn't, I didn't want to play into it when I was doing them. And then afterwards I wanted to see our own movie for what it was instead of comparing it to the others, you know?
Oh, that's a great idea. It makes it your performance much more in tune with the script that you have in front of you.
You know,
So,
I just wanted to throw in that over the past weekend, because we were my kid hadn't seen they had only seen clips just like you
Yeah.
of the and he's not he's millennial. Well, he's like younger
Hello.
millennial. So he had only seen just clips and not actually seen the whole movie. So we sat down and we did a 1 through 5 marathon on Saturday.
Shut up. How do you do
Yeah,
that? How do you go
it
inside?
was crazy. It was crazy. We had snacks. We did the whole thing, right? It was great. We had a really fun time. And
How old
the
is your
one
son?
he's oh gosh, he's 20 something.
You have a
So
20-year-old?
I do amazingly. Yes.
Love
Actually,
it. Love
I'll
it.
we'll talk on air about how old I actually am, but anyway. But one thing that I wanted to say was watching all of the movies. One of the things that is so spectacular, and I think that the latest movie fits perfectly into this, is that none of them. The reason that they all kind of work on their own is because none of them have a single trope that runs all the way throughout, except of course death. But the movies themselves are all so independent of each other in both the way that they are shot, the way that they're presented, the way that the characters handle what's going to happen next. And the only thing that we really know is that death is going to come. And because of that, there is so much latitude, which is why I was so glad to hear you say what you said. There's so much latitude for interpretation, and you can feel throughout the movies that that's exactly what happens. Each person has their own feeling and their own definition of how to make this happen on screen, and it definitely comes across.
Oh, that would you okay, so that's really interesting that you say that because I've been reading a lot of things and like I've been getting like I mean, I've never experienced the ton of like notes and emails and things like that I'm getting. But
Nice.
a lot of people, everybody has their own opinions, right? A lot
Right.
of people, there are two camps for sure. One loves the fact that this movie focused on people who were all connected and then
Right.
made the audience feel compassion or sympathy, or they felt for they cared about the characters more than the "I hate you, let's watch you die" kind of thing that was
Right.
typically from the past ones, right? Or "You're a racist, die," like, and yay, the cheers that would come because I've seen all that stuff online, right? The cheers that would come when a character died.
right.
This one was more like, oh no. But I think
Yeah, I
that
actually felt sorry for some of the people that got
I
axed
feel
out.
sorry for Aunt Brenda who lost everybody.
Right.
Aw.
The
Oh, is
the
that
thing.
spoiler? I guess that's yeah. Sorry.
Well, the thing about this film that most, let's just be honest, most sequels generally don't have a real reason to exist, but they did a great job of giving. And this is just not me saying this. I said this, before I even knew that we were going to do this show today. But this actually, there's a good reason why this movie exists. Like the plot makes
The
sense.
origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes total sense why it happens, and everything that happens you go, okay. I mean, within this world, I like when the movie established rules that it sticks to the rules. So therefore, you're like, okay, that makes sense why this happened. Because there were a couple of times before I understood one character was supposed to die but didn't die, and I'm like, wait a minute, why they do that. But then it's explained, oh, that's why, So then
There's
you're
a
like,
lot of
okay,
lore in these movies.
yeah.
If you watch them back to back, it's amazing how much lore you can actually pick up. There is a ton of stuff behind the reason that death works in the way that it does and what the design actually is and how it folds in on itself a couple of times because very creative writers came up with quick jumps to propel us into the next design for death. It's actually a bit brilliant for such a what I would label as like a popcorn movie, with Final Destination 1 through 4. There isn't. I mean, they're fabulous movies for what they are, but they're
The
popcorn movies.
sunrise, right?
But underneath it, when you really start to explore the lore, there is a ton of stuff going on there.
A ton.
It's respectable. It's very respectable.
And the fact that God bless Tony Todd and I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna bring him up. Yeah.
Tony.
the fact that he was so excited to be in this, and he knew how ill he was, and he knew that he probably didn't have many more films ahead of him. The excitement that he expressed to be part of this, and then I don't know, I'm sure you know this. Adam and Zach said to him at the end of the scene, I don't want to give too much away, but like I think that this has been put out there quite a bit. They gave him freedom to step away from the script and say, what would you say as you are, like you Tony Todd, not as David Bloodsmith, you Tony Todd, what would you say to these people to have impact and something that would sit with them? And he came up with those words of life is precious.
Nice.
And the rest of it, I'm not going to go into it, but that was him. And that's why that was the most, what a poignant moment in the film, especially since
the audience went, when he popped up on the screen, the audience went nuts.
I know.
Just at his presence, the audience went nuts. So
he's such an iconic.
I met him twice.
You did?
At the grocery store. I have a couple times I've met him at the. I think he might have lived in this neighborhood. I'm not sure, but at one point at least. So yeah, and I was, of course, I'm a huge fan of his work. Going way back. So I was glad to see him. He pops up in The Last Candyman as well. So it was so cool to see him in that, and see him in this film as well. And he's great too. He's good. Yeah, it's very good, and
it's so thoughtful and heartfelt, and I am just overjoyed, and I am so moved by the fact that they gave him that freedom. But they gave all of us that freedom all the time. So much of the writing was so, I cannot deny the writing in this show was really good. We didn't even want to move away from the words that were on the page, but we were given the freedom to do so. And there are lots of scenes where the biggest laughs came from stuff that we kind of made up in the moment. I can't tell you because some of them would.
That's spoilers, yeah.
But I'll tell you after, but because you guys have seen it. But it was pretty great. And the fact that he did it, and it was so heartfelt and so real and honest and true. And especially knowing that, you go, oh my God.
With all these Final Destination films, it's like you love these movies, but then they make you now look at what are those trampolines? Now you look at them like, oh my God! Now you got that in your head if you're jumping up and down on one, or the shards of glass. In this one particularly, the shard of glass in the ice cup. So now you don't want to look in your cup, before you.
Oh, I don't want ice in my cup. Period. Thank you very much. But honest to God, I'm leaving I'm on my way to the airport from, I've dropped off my rental car. I've seen the premiere, right? And I'm on my way to the airport in a shuttle bus from dropping it off at the rental car place. And there is inside the bus is this yellow, I guess it's a wheelchair ramp, right? For the back doors of the bus. And it is going like this. And I'm like, oh my God. And there's a woman sitting on the bench right there, and I'm like, you have to move. And she goes, what? I go, you have to move. And she goes, what? I go, it's gonna fall. Like, I mean, I must have sounded like the most mentally unstable human on earth. But I was in my mind, I was like, that's gonna fall. I was like, April, what the heck? Smart up. And I am like living in the Final Destination world of like, I'm swinging on my swing that my husband built me between my two trees.
Wow.
As the wind's blowing, I'm going, oh my God, am I going to fall? I walk around the world now like that. It's scary.
Yeah, I remember after the first one, it was me and my buddy. We were at the house, and a jar falls off of a table and rolls over and knocks over a broom. And we looked at each other like, "Is this the start?"
It's like dominoes, right? Like it's like one little thing falls, and then all of a sudden the world changes.
Right.
After watching all 5 movies, I can
I can't believe you did that.
definitively say, oh, we do marathons. We love movie marathons.
I
I'll
started to
tell
do
you
it.
later about what I do with our movie marathons. But one of the things that happened afterwards was anytime that there was even a puff of wind, everybody would get the chills.
Victoria, we are the like windy city. Like it's like Chicago's the windy city. Oh, Victoria, we're on an island. Like we're surrounded by water. We are Pacific Coast. It is windy.
Mhm.
The last 3 days since I've been back, 2 days, I'm like, honest to God, it's a bit much.
This is one of the things that I think Final Destination does so well. It does this really great job of almost giving a character to a
Dude,
sequence of events, and you actually personify the event sequence, and it's not just something. My kid had a name for this. Oh my gosh, and I completely forgot what it is, but
oh,
it's kind of like the one thing happens and then another thing happens, kind of like the ancient game Mousetrap, where
Mhm.
you like set up everything to fall in domino order, but it's all unconnected, and there's a name for it, and I don't remember now what it is. He's much smarter than I am. But that's exactly what it is. It's a bunch of contraptions that all come together for a final outcome, but none of them are related. And
oh, that's really interesting.
even the things that you think are going to be the final catalyst, no, that's not it. That's just the ball dropping in order to make the knife come down or whatever.
Did you know that Final Destination started out as a spec script for the X-Files?
X-Files.
I had heard that.
Yeah, because Morgan and Wong, who worked on the show, they were involved in the creation of it as well. So they did the first and the third one. So and he actually kills his wife in the first movie. The teacher who dies, I think, in her bathroom, was the director's wife. So
Who was the director?
I believe it's James Wong. I think.
Oh.
Directed it. Yeah. Who was a writer? They were writer producers on Millennium as well as X.
Okay, because I was gonna say they sent me like what did they call it? A magnum of champagne after my second episode of Millennium because I got drowned in the episode, and they were like, "Drown yourself in champagne." It was very sweet. Yeah, Chip. No, I can't remember that.
Chip Johannes. Yeah, but yeah, no.
And Morgan.
Glenn Morgan and James Wong. They were in.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my
first
God.
and third one. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, this film is really good. There's a lot of bad horror movies that come out. This is not one of them. This was thoroughly entertaining. It's gross at times, but it's
so gross. One of our friends went to a screening here at IMAX, and he was like in the fetal position. We were like, "Oh, thank God you've been dating this girl long enough that you're okay doing that," because that's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Even I cringed at some of the stuff. When I say cringe, because it was so well done. Like for me to do that is pretty impressive.
I'm in it. I know all of it. I've screamed every single time I've seen it.
No, yeah, it definitely. There's some real shockers that happen in there, and they do a good job of, because if you've seen these, you kind of know what the beats are. You think you do, but this one does a good job of. You think something's gonna happen because it looks like it's setting it up, but then they throw curveballs that are really well done. So I gotta definitely say, and the actors are really good. the young lady who's the star, Stephanie, was
Yeah, Kaitlyn. Yes.
she's so I hadn't has she been in anything before?
Oh,
She's
yeah, no,
really
she's
good.
done stuff, but she. That's the magic of these movies.
Her and
Okay,
her little brother, awesome.
they were both. I mean, they are both really great and of Filipino descent.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. My daughter's stepmom, like so her is also Filipina and I was in the Philippines for quite some time, many years ago, for months. And it's a wonderful culture um of just oh, they're so hospitable and kind. But my God, I will tell you, um Kaitlyn, she's from Langley, BC, like small, like Vancouver, but outskirts. And her family has this bakery, and she's so real and down to earth and human and not affected in the slightest, and still being number one on the call sheet for a movie that is as big as this.
Yeah, and she's the hero. Yeah, of the
I
film.
mean, it is a huge thing. I was like, "Are you ready for your life to change?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "It's gonna change." I mean,
She's
but
fantastic.
she's so good and she's so real and she's so cute. I want to tell you something. I have to tell you off this because I can't tell it out yet
No,
because I'm not even allowed to say that I was in it. But
and your kids, great. The Eric, the one that worked at the tattoo parlor,
yeah,
and that guy is really good. He's a very good actor, and
he's a movie star.
yeah, he
He's a
is.
movie star.
He's really good. He has a lot of personality. I've seen him in interviews promoting this, and you could see that he has a lot of personality outside of his roles. And the other son, uh,
Owen,
yeah,
and he's a
I don't
great
I don't
daddy.
I don't want to tell it too much because I don't want to
No,
ruin the movie for nobody.
he's so
But
funny.
but there's a certain point where things change for his character, and he is so good at because you like feel for this kid, like he's like, you just want him to be okay, like that's
So
as much as
good.
I'll
And
say.
most of
Yeah,
that dialogue, I know which scene you're talking about. Most of that was just go for it, make up whatever you want. And he would just play with different things all the time. Same as that scene right before that,
mm-hmm.
where Eric and I
Mm-hmm.
have the discovery,
Yeah,
a lot of that was
that's
made
great.
up too and played with.
Yeah.
We just had to like make one point, right? And same as Owen had to make one point, right? But the rest was we were given freedom. I mean, both those boys, they're skilled with improv and coming up with stuff. But I think Owen did like a Nickelodeon series or something like that. So he's been in the business for years and years and years. And those, yeah, I mean, all of
Mhm.
us have been in the business for years and years, but we still, I mean, Richard had 1 million followers on Instagram. So let's be real.
Right.
He's famous, but not household name, right?
Yeah. There's a scene
Now he will be.
where they have to go through those spinning doors. What do you call them? The
Oh,
revolving
the
doors.
revolving doors.
Yeah, the revolving doors, and the audience. I always like to look at the audience, and everybody's like, like, oh wait, what's gonna happen at the, just for that, So it's pretty, yeah.
But
It's
can I tell
pretty
you
good.
something?
Hmm.
Um, Originally, Darlene, the mom,
Hmm.
died leaving the hospital in those revolving doors.
Oh, no way.
Oh,
We did
okay.
reshoots, and they thought because the test audience has scored the film really, really, really like incredibly well,
Hmm.
but felt like there were too many deaths back to back to back.
Okay.
So they, instead of killing Darlene there, they killed her. Oh, well, no. Shoot, April, stop talking.
Hmm.
It was
Right.
different.
Right.
Yeah.
And this movie makes you afraid of a penny.
Oh, no kidding.
It's like, yeah, that's what I'll leave it at that. You're like, pennies are scary.
It's
Single
when
penny.
the penny drops. You're always waiting for the penny to drop, right?
Right, right. So yeah, and there's a little boy in the 60s, the one with the bow tie. That kid was great. He was great. He played a jerk very, very well, and he did his job. So I was like, because I'm sitting there like, I would totally
Oh
punch
yes,
that.
sir. Oh yes, sir.
Somebody
Of
punch
course,
that
sir.
kid.
Okay, there's a thing on Reddit right now that goes, I just came back from the Final Destination movie and I hate these two characters. And one was the boy and
Right.
one was me.
Oh no. How are you? You were great. I mean, you were non-confrontational or
No,
no?
well, it's because of other stuff that,
Oh, the reveal. Okay.
yeah.
But no, yeah, no, you were but maybe because I'm so attached to you, so I didn't see it that
No,
way.
no, no, it wasn't evil. It wasn't for evil reasons. It was because my character
Right.
enables stuff to happen.
Right. So
My favorite credit in Bloodline is the character that is labeled Suspicious Doctor. Doesn't even have a name, just Suspicious Doctor. Yeah,
That's so funny. I never
my
noticed
favorite
that.
credit. Yeah.
I never noticed that. Oh my God, that's so funny.
that's most doctors for me.
Oh, should we talk about that? You need to talk about that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You have something to get off your chest.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe just a little bit.
We're not talking about
But
a
yeah,
whole.
no, this is a very good. And
Really?
oh no, yeah, I don't know, it was something.
It
It was
froze.
like my internet or something got wonky. I don't know why. But anyway, so yeah, no, this is a very good film. And I was so happy once I saw you in it, and I was already into the movie by the time you come into it. Then I was like, oh, that's like another cherry on the top, like
Aw,
yeah,
you're so sweet.
I always like when I see people that I like, and also people I've met in person, because it's just these opportunities are so cool, and you want to see good people get really good opportunities. So I mean, yeah, I'd suggest people go see it. I'm who knows, I may end up seeing it again. So which is I think is pretty cool. So that was this Warner Brothers, right?
Warner Brothers New Line. Yep. Yeah.
Warner Brothers
Oh, it's
is
slaying.
killing it. It's killing it because the last thing we talked about was Sinners, and y'all have that's back to back.
And
Like
then and also Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah, that's like domination.
Boom, boom, boom. Total
Yeah.
domination. I mean, let's be real. Like, okay, so there's an episode of Smartless, I think, that interviews Michael DeLuca and then the other oh God, please don't like cut this out because I can't remember the name. Anyway, from Warner Brothers, talking about how you just don't know what's going to work and how it's going to work, and like you take chances and you go out there and you put yourself out on the line with certain things, and you're standing on the edge of a cliff. The leap of faith in so many ways for so many things, and the cost versus what you could recover, or you never ever know. Who knows? But boy, yeah, they have slayed this year. God.
You can have a Warner Brothers if you go to the drive-through. A drive-in. I'm sorry, not the drive-through. A good double feature would be like Sinners and Final Destination.
Right?
That'd be a great double feature. Yeah.
Be a lot though. Be a lot.
For a long time, New Line used to be known as the house that Freddie built, right?
Right.
Yes.
But now it's starting to feel like New Line is the house that was expanded on by Final Destination. There's just this. It's amazing how big that whole thing has become.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
pretty
I can't wait
exciting.
to see what happens next.
Yeah. So what is next for you? Do you have anything about to come out? Is there things that we should be on the lookout for?
Well, I just finished. So the directors of Final Destination, Adam and Zach, are doing another movie.
Nice.
And they feel so blessed. They wrote this little part in it, and then I got a call from my agent going, "Hey, so this is a letter that, like, this is an email I got from casting, and it came from because of a request from the directors, and they wrote this part, and they were hoping they wrote it earmarked for you." And I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
And she goes, "Well, but we have to do the deal." I go, "I don't care what the deal is." Okay. And she's like, no, but like we'll discuss, we'll negotiate. And I went, okay, I'm just doing it. I don't care. I don't care. Because you get to work with people like that, and like that's heaven. And I did an episode of Tracker just recently, but it's already aired. I'm hoping that I get another Hallmark Christmas movie because that's what I'm known for most often. Actually, like people will stop me and go, "Aren't you? Wait, oh my God, you're the Christmas girl! Like I've seen you in lots because I've done Christmas movies for Hallmark for like I don't know, 15, 20 years, but I didn't have one last year." First year in like 10 years that I didn't have one,
Oh,
nor
wow.
did my daughter. So hopefully I can get on a couple of Hallmark.
Well, I would say Final Destination is your Hallmark movie of this year.
Well, it's a lot bigger than a Hallmark. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, it's
Also,
a
I
love
think
story.
Also, I think the audience demographic may be just a teensy bit divergent.
A little bit.
A little.
they're not into Hallmarks. They're not into Hallmark, and I'm okay with that because I come from the sci-fi. Like my whole beginning of my career, I was murdered. My head was cut off. I'm like words carved into my head. I'm like in my bra and underwear being set on fire, or I'm being like, I mean, the whole like the whole most half of my career, Outer Limits, like all of it. It was like all of it, dark and all sci-fi and all that stuff. So to go into the land of Hallmark is very different, and then to come back to this world is pretty epic. But this is the biggest thing I've ever been part of. Like on day one, for me, like we'd been in rehearsals and stuff like that, and camera tests and makeup and hair and whatever. They made that little blonde wig that I was wearing in the movie. They made it for me. It's so funny. I got a text today, or like an instant a DM or whatever, and somebody slid into my DMs. I don't even know what that means. And said, "Oh, your hair is so amazing in this movie," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Sent it off to the people who made the wig. I went, "This was meant for you. Here, Diane, Julie, this was meant for you," because it was not my hair. But anyway, it was very sweet. But like we were shooting one of the scenes at the funeral, and I went up to the producer in between scenes, Craig, and I went, "So where's this going to land?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Like, is it for Netflix or like Amazon, or where is this going to air?" He goes, "Oh, April, what? It's going in like at least 3,000 IMAX theaters around the world." I went, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, no, it's like 50 million bucks, the budget for this movie." And I went, "Wait, what?
Wow.
And you're paying me what?" No, I'm just kidding. They paid me very well. They paid me very well. But I was like, "Oh, I had no clue. I thought it would be maybe at most HBO Max.
Right.
I didn't know. So this is pretty epic. This whole experience has been like it's a lot. Incredible, incredibly well, like happy a lot.
That's so cool. I'm very excited for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing the film again, and also the audacity that your daughter is going to be in, Ava Telek as well.
Ava Marie
And
Telek.
Ava Marie Telek, and also for your next project with
Conventions.
conventions. You know what?
Conventions.
I really would love to do a Hell on Wheels reunion panel or something like that.
That'd be fun.
That would be so cool. So
Would you invite me? Can you invite me if you do?
yeah,
Okay.
yes, you'll be the first. You'll be the first person we call. So for sure. But that'd be cool. But I definitely want to do a one like online, but I want to do one in person. I think
That'd be fun.
that'd be so cool. And what was so funny was some of the writers, when we would finally get around to having them on the show, there was one writer named Tom Brady, not the football player, and I remember him saying to us was like, "Yeah, I was wondering why you never asked me. You asked everybody, but like
Aww.
he thought we had done it on purpose." I was like, "No, we just, it just
Save the
didn't
best for
work
last.
out." Right. So it was pretty cool though that they really thought about our show.
I gotta say though, you know what I love about you is that you interview the writers, because
Yeah.
without the writers, without their words, without their stories, we are nothing, and we have nothing to do. Like we are nothing. So, but people don't respect the writers. Um, you know, in Like they don't get the notoriety that the faces on screen get.
Right.
But without them, those faces on screen wouldn't be there.
Well,
So
all of us who do the podcasting, we are all writers, every single one of us.
sure,
So I think that that actually gives us a little bit of insight into the entire process. But you're
sure.
right. Although I did hear somebody say, and I can't cite who it was, but I heard somebody say, especially about a really good movie, that oftentimes the best writers are the very uncredited ones. Now, probably that just comes from somebody trying to be like, hey, you know, I did a movie and didn't get anything from it, but it was a good movie. But I sort of agree with that. It's such an invisible job to do, but it is absolutely the essential foundation of any good movie. And to that end, Final Destination does a phenomenal job with that. You could easily take all of the lines in every Final Destination movie, compile them, and make them sound cheesy. You know, I can call out a couple of lines over the 5 films that we did over the weekend that were like super cheesy, but for the most part, they're all delivered as if there is real life and death on the line. There is none of that, like, you know, kind of craziness that you kind of get from a lot of movies in this very genre. So shout out to the writers for doing a great job.
It's the thing. I mean, it is the best writers are the ones that have smaller egos. The best writers are the ones who write and are willing to give it up to the talent to make those words their own.
Right.
And I believe good writing, you don't need to mess with. I don't need to play with it. I don't need to make it my own. If I'm playing that character and the writing is good, I will say your words word perfect, exactly that. But there are a lot of arrogant writers out there that I mean, Final Destination and Hell on Wheels, they were perfect writers. No complaints. There are some other shows where
Right.
they needed some help and they wouldn't take the help.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh my
How
God,
can-
you guys, thank you for asking me.
oh, for sure.
I
Yes.
talk a lot.
And how can we get in contact with you via social media if someone wants to find out what's going on with you?
I don't know. On my April Amber Telek at on Instagram. I think I'm at.
Yes, April.
Is that right?
April Amber Telek.
Okay, April Amber Telek on Instagram, and then I think on Twitter I'm at Telektra, TELEKTRA.
Yes.
And then I think on Facebook I'm April Telek.
And Jen, how can we get you?
I've given up social media for Lent and haven't gone back. But hey, if you want to join me over at my website, moviesandmeals.com, feel free to do that. And yeah, that's about you can always find me here attached to Kinte's hip because that's where I'm usually at my best. So let's start with that.
Okay.
All right. And you get me at Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Ferguson on Instagram. And we will be back with an all new episode of Horror Flix and Chill. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me.